Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to look at the subreddit r/entitledparents, where people tell us their stories of crazy mums and dads who think they're entitled just because they have kids. If you're new around here, please hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some Reddit stories. Entitled grandmother won't stay in her lane. So, as a background, I am a former competitive swimmer and currently a competitive swim coach. I usually go to my local Y 3 to 4 times a week to stay relatively fit. The pool is typically split into 2 sections down the middle. One section has lap swimming lanes, 3 of them, while the other section is open for kids and for old people to jazzercise. I showed up and it wasn't too busy. Just an elderly woman swimming laps, a couple of men floating in the open section, and a woman watching, entitled grandmother, what I assume were her 3 grandkids playing and jumping back and forth between the remaining lanes. This is the resulting confrontations the entitled grandmother had at the Y. Excuse me, can you please have your kids stay in one lane or use the open section so... No! We were here first, and you can't tell us what to do! But there's a section for... Didn't you hear me the first time? Leave us alone or I'll have you kicked out. At this point, the aquatics director comes out of his office. What's the problem here? This man is harassing us and won't leave us alone. I'm just trying to swim. Holding back laughter at this point because I can't believe how quickly she's escalated this. Entitled grandmother, I've already told you that your kids are only allowed in these lanes if they are getting lessons or there are no lap swimmers available. But we were here first. I'm sorry, but it's pool policy. One of the entitled kids, but we don't want to move. See, you're ruining their day at the pool. If they want to continue swimming, they need to stay in their designated area. At this point, I thought it was over. I had a lane to swim in, and I started my workout. About 10 minutes into my swim, a little kid jumps on top of me. Sure enough, it's one of the entitled kids. The entitled grandmother waited for the aquatics director to go back into his office and then started throwing all of her kids' toys in my lane. What the hell, lady? I told you we were here first. The aquatics director can't tell me what to do. What is wrong with you? There's so much space everywhere else in the pool. Well, we want this spot here. And now, the youngest of the 3 entitled kids starts crying, drawing out the aquatics director again. Entitled grandmother, I told you to stay in your area. I don't care. We're not leaving. Well, I'm going to have to kick you out. And then, the real escalation started. What? How dare you do this to us? My son is a lawyer and I'm going to have him all over you in no time. The aquatics director, now laughing. I work at the YMCA, but sure, waste your time going after all of my money. The entitled grandmother screams incoherently for about 5 minutes and then packs up all her grandkids and storms out. I finished my workout and tried to process how the heck this just happened. When he said that one of the kids jumped on his back, that's really dangerous. Like, the grandmother's not just putting the person in danger that's getting jumped on top of, like the kid could be drowned and like freaked out or something, I don't know. I don't care if your daughter is dying, you need to come into work. This happened 5 years ago at my first job. It personally didn't happen to me, but to the assistant store manager that I got along with very well. So, the assistant store manager told me this story one night when it was just the 2 of us closing and she wanted to rant to somebody about what happened 2 days prior. I don't remember some parts of the story she told me, but I remember the key parts. The assistant store manager went out to dinner with her daughter to a seafood restaurant. Her daughter had never been allergic to seafood before, but she had a bad allergic reaction to something where her throat completely closed up and 911 had to be called. They apparently had to intubate her, and later at the hospital, the doctors had to put her on life support and she was in critical condition. The assistant store manager stayed at her daughter's bedside the entire night and called loved ones about the situation, and at the same time called our store director, EB, to call out for work since she was opening the store at 9 AM. She called the store director at 6 AM to give them enough time to call another manager in to open. The store director didn't answer her phone, so she left a voicemail. An hour or so passed after she had left the voicemail, and by this time her daughter was surrounded by their loved ones saying prayers. The assistant store manager's phone went off in the middle of a prayer, and it was entitled boss on the caller ID. The assistant store manager excused herself from the hospital room and out to the hallway to answer the call. Hi EB.
Hi ASM, I just got your voicemail. You know you can't call out. You are the opening manager and have to be there to open the store. You need to come in for work on your scheduled shift.
What? No, I'm not coming into work. Did you not listen to my voicemail? I am at the hospital because my daughter is currently on life support in critical condition.
Yes, I did listen, but you need to still come into work. You are not the one in the hospital, so you are still fit to work today.
The assistant store manager is freaking out at this point. That's when her daughter's doctor was coming down the hallway and saw ASM in distress. Is there something wrong? The assistant store manager, covering her phone, my boss is trying to tell me I need to come into work, even though I just explained to her why I am here. Let me talk to her. ASM was taken back by the nice doctor she has known all night suddenly get very angry. She passed her phone to the doctor. Hello, this is Dr. D. Am I speaking to the assistant store manager's boss? Yes, why are you on the phone? I am on the phone to tell you why ASM cannot make it into work today. Her daughter has been hospitalized all night in critical condition and on life support. Let me explain what life support is. Life support is when a machine is keeping a human being that happens to be the assistant store manager's daughter alive. If that machine was not hooked up to her right now, ASM would be making her funeral arrangements. Let me ask you this. Are you a mother? Yes, but so you should understand how she feels that her daughter, her flesh and blood, is in a hospital bed with wires and a machine attached to her to keep her alive. Assistant store manager has been by her daughter's bedside all night sobbing and praying that her daughter's condition will improve. Her entire family is here right now, not sure if they have to say their final goodbyes. Once again, assistant store manager will not be able to work today, and I will gladly give her a doctor's note and write my exact feelings on this matter for your HR department to see. Goodbye. The doctor hung up on entitled boss, and the assistant store manager was completely gobsmacked. Now, let's go to your daughter's room. We have some good news. ASM's daughter's condition started to improve and they were able to remove her off life support and her body started to breathe on its own. She recovered quickly through the day and she was able to go home that afternoon with ASM. ASM was able to make her scheduled shift the next day and was confronted by the entitled boss.
Never do that to me again. Do you know how embarrassing that was for me?
I did not do anything. That doctor chose to do that. I'm sorry that my daughter was near death and I couldn't come into work.
I already wrote you up. HR will be hearing about this. You're lucky I'm not firing you.
The assistant store manager submitted her own HR report about entitled boss and gave a copy of the doctor's note. I read that note myself that night. That doctor was true to his word and wrote his exact feelings about entitled boss. The assistant store manager ended up getting a call from HR management and they apologized for what happened and informed her that they already contacted entitled boss's boss and she will be reprimanded for her behavior. Entitled Boss ended up having to take a sensitivity class for about a week and was not allowed to work for that week. You've got to respect the doctor for doing that. They've got some guts on them to say that, and they should rightly so say that because that was just awful from the boss. Mum expects me to clean, cook, teach myself school, and parent my younger siblings. Okay. I was 13 years old. My youngest sibling had just turned 4. I'll call him Jack Jack for purposes of this story. We were just 2 of a total of 6 kids. My mum is unfortunately the stereotypical anti-vax religious parents who chose to homeschool for control and didn't think her plan all the way through. The more kids she had and the older we got, the less she gave a crap and the more emotional and angry she got. We were becoming independent thinkers and less clingy. So she spent time doing literally anything else she could instead of parenting us or being our school teacher. I was expected to keep the borderline hoarder house clean, read my own school lessons, cook, and watch my younger 4 siblings, including an Aspie who wasn't allowed professional help or recognition of his autism. Dear Lord, the meltdowns were daily. Obviously, the younger siblings include Jack Jack. My older brother wasn't expected to do chores and babysittings because sexism. As a toddler, Jack Jack had this game, or fixation I suppose you could call it, of cramming small rocks or other tiny objects into his ears. Sometimes would then have to wash them out or fish them out. Eventually, he started putting them in his nose. Being told no didn't work, and if I tried to drive the point home, Mum yelled at me for upsetting him. One day, I was especially tired and done with the nonsense of having to force his hand open every 2 minutes while we were in the backyard and take gravel away from him. Cue Mum opening the back door after an hour or 2. Specifically to guilt trip and yell at me because the dishes were piled up. I'm told to go wash them. Internally, I'm fuming, but on the outside, I'm an underweight, defeated, timid kid who just wanted to go to her room to decompress. Or at least to the corner of the room that was mine. Jack Jack started to throw a tantrum when I said we had to go inside. Then it hit me. There was a container of red hot mini cinnamon candies in the kitchen. I'm not allowed to teach him an important lesson, but you refuse to teach him? K. But that boy gon' learn, and he gon' learn today. Hey, Jack Jack, want some candy? At this stage in his life, he's well on his way to obesity, and spoilt from the worst parenting any of us have gotten so far. So, of course he wants his candy. His eyes light up and he stops digging around for rocks. I don't have to fight with him to make him go inside. We make our way to the kitchen. I scoop a small handful of the candies out for him while no one was looking. I supervise him enough to ensure he's eating them properly and not going to choke. But I know those last few candies are not destined for his mouth. I turn around to go to my washing dishes by hand, like a good little Christian girl. And Jack Jack wanders to another room. I was just told to clean, and the youngest minion is indoors, with outside doors locked. So, not currently my concern. About 15 minutes later, I hear crying like a tornado siren warming up, ascending in volume. It's Jack Jack. He's crammed 2 red hots up his nostrils, and now the dissolving cinnamon was burning like 3.6 Rontgen. The more snot and tears he made, the faster it dissolved and ran out of his nose, so it didn't take very long for his nose to be clear. I played ignorant and continued doing dishes, so my mum was forced to get off her computer and deal with him. Because I was doing exactly what I was told, and Jack Jack was out of my sight when the crying started. She was mad, but ultimately couldn't pin anything on me. Funnily enough, Jack Jack and I are now pretty close with a great relationship, while my other siblings and I drift apart. Although he and I don't talk often, His hindsight is amazingly clear for someone who just became an adult. Jack put himself on a diet at 16 and lost about 80 pounds, despite my mum trying hard to make him eat desserts every week. He's got a good sport and laughs along anytime the red hot life lesson comes up, but I'll never tell my family I instigated it. Part of me feels bad, but I hope I spared him an ER visit involving gravel or worse, like broken glass. Nobody else was going to try stop him. I didn't have to fish anything out of his ears or nose ever again. I loved that little 3.6 Rotgun. Did I pronounce that right? I think it's Rotgun. It was from the Chernobyl series. If anyone's watched that, let me know, because I just finished watching that and it was really good. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching and I will see you very soon.